if we don't jump on the AI wagon, you're out of business, honestly. Especially as a staffing company, we realized that from the get go. And as soon as AI became a thing, we decided to create what we call an AI center of excellence. And in the company, we train every engineer heavily on how to use AI the right way, not just by prompting ChatGPT and copy and pasting code, LLM you want to use, but they know how to use it, integrate it into the environment. We saw it as an opportunity because when we, instead of placing two engineers, now we place one and we have the same margin because we were able to mark them up. So we marked them up at a level where now we're seeing even more profit. So just when we went ahead of that curve, we anticipated for it, we prepared well, and now everybody's trained heavily on AI.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Executive Intelligence, where business leadership meets artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Dagen Davis, and today, for the first time, we have two guests on one show. Normally, we just have one guest, and we're having a conversation with just one person. Now we got lucky, and we got two people today. So this will be a really cool show to have. Today, our guests are from developers.net. It is Douglas Loyo and Emilio Baez. Douglas is the CEO and Emilio is the president. So thanks for joining me, guys.
Hey, Dagen, great to see you, man. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on. Now, one request that I normally get from people viewing the actual podcast is that they want to have the context starting out. They want to know what you do, where you guys come from. So if you could just share that for people that are not familiar with developers.net.
Yeah, Emilio, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so developers.net is it's a nearshore staff augmentation company. So basically what we do is we focus on finding amazing talent in Mexico and Latin America and placing them with our clients here in the US and Canada. We focus on the top 1%. They have to be really, really good to work for us. We're recognized in the industry for being that boutique shop that only hires amazing developers.
Yeah, and we've expanded in the last few years into actually executing on projects. So not only staff augmentation, but if there's companies that want us to take on their project and execute, we can also do that. And most recently, also we're doing a lot of really interesting AI automations and AI consulting. So expanding into what the market is requesting.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good to hear. And we'll definitely get to all the AI stuff and what you guys are working on and what you're seeing in the industry. But one question I have is, so now that you guys are starting to, react to what your customers are wanting, as far as the project management side of it, are they still hiring your talent and you're just managing them, or how is that relationship still working?
Yeah, currently we're still operating as usual, as normal. Most of our engagements are that way. We're really, really good at finding amazing software engineers, amazing talent in Mexico and Latin America. So we find that talent, and they'll go through interview process also with our clients, right? And once a client selects that resource, most of our business is that they will manage them, right? We've had a few larger projects executed lately where we find the team, we build the team, we manage the team. We have a project manager in the US who communicates with the client and with the developers, and we execute on projects.
Okay, great. That sounds good. So let's back up a little bit. How did you guys meet?
Over beers.
Over beers, obviously.
Awesome. That's a great
Doug
way
and
to meet.
we worked on an education technology project together, and through that process, we met, and then we got together and decided to build some SaaS offering. And the experience doing that was not great because we wanted to hire developers from Latin America to work with great talent from Latin America, and we couldn't find good profiles for the project that we were doing. So we decided, hey, you know what? Let's drop the project idea and let's actually build a staffing company. We hire at least 3 or 4 staffing firm in Austin who did what we do now, and they couldn't find us a single developer that was up to the standards we were looking for. A month went by, and they sent us probably 1 or 2 that were like, I know there, but not 100%. So as entrepreneurs, we saw the opportunity to actually build a staffing firm with quality that only work with amazing developers down there. But it all started with an education technology. We still do a little bit of education technology work. That's how we started in the U.S. doing education, K-12 education work.
Okay. And so why Mexico? Why Latin America? What brought you guys to that?
I think the number one thing was proximity with the US. And also, I actually went to college in Mexico City. So I lived in Mexico for around 28 years, more or less. I was born in Bryan, Texas, but raised in Mexico. Um, and one thing that we wanted to solve for was there's amazing smart people all over the world, right? Like Emilio and I have both worked with amazing teams in India, great people, very, very smart, but the time zones were killing us, right? So um, I remember that this conversation that Emilio and I were having. It was like, how can we make this better, right? And I was like, man, I went to college with some really smart people down there in Mexico. Let's fly down, start interviewing some people down there, and see how it goes, right? Um, Rates are comparable, obviously a little bit more expensive than India, but we found amazing talent down there, very motivated, very, very hard workers. Um, and same time zone, right? Plus, maybe sometimes plus minus one, depending on where you are in the US. But great talent down there.
Okay. So you would say that the biggest challenge that companies face when hiring a software developer, especially outsourcing one or finding one outside the country, is really just the skill level and being able to understand if they can actually code or not.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was more on the cultural side of things. I mean, definitely time zones was a problem, but the biggest we managed them in other continents, and there's more people all over the world. It's just that time zone killed us. Definitely, the time zone was a problem, but to me, the biggest problem was the cultural alignment. Like we would meet with some of these engineers and we'd tell them what to do, and they developed something else. They had this, I don't know, necessity of saying yes to everything you asked, because they were afraid of asking questions. Our Latin people are not. We love our Latin developers. If you say something to them and you ask them to do something that doesn't make sense, they will tell you, hey, it does not make sense. Explain it again. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. Right. So they also live, we have a lot of our developers that live on the northern side of Mexico. And they're so close to the border that they know how we live here in the US. So it's so easy to work with them because they know exactly how we live here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, you find it easier for the actual managers of these companies to be able to mesh with the new talent coming in?
Yeah, and I want to add a little bit to what we've said, because I think we have like a few bullet points that we always talk about as benefits of working with Latin America, right?
Sure.
First, we mentioned time zone, right? Emilio mentioned cultural alignment. Um, he actually mentioned two in one. He cultural alignment and communication skills, right? English language. Um, those are important, and definitely, Dagan, the one that you mentioned of like, can they get the job done, right? That is very, very important. Um, so I would say those four. The last one being interesting because you're going to find all over the world somebody who can get the job done, right? But here it was just again time zone, cultural alignment, communication, and can they get the job done? I think those are the four big bullet points on this.
And how are you guys testing them coming into, your environment and being available for your clients?
We designed our own proprietary process that we call the like process. It's an acronym for language, interaction, knowledge, and execution. And it's a pipeline, right? It's like a funnel. So anybody who applies to, or if we do headhunting or different experiments that we do to actually attract the talent to join us, they go through this funnel of interview, right? In a nutshell, first thing is they're going to be working with our clients in the U.S. and Canada. If they can't speak the language, if they can't communicate well, they're not going to be a good fit. So that's kind of our first filter away, right? And then we go down to interaction. Interaction. We want those people who are passionate about software development. That this is their passion, is their hobby, it's what they want to do, right? We don't want that guy who's like super quiet in the corner and can't talk and can't do anything. And then knowledge and execution is part of like theory. We evaluate where they are at, what they learned in college, how had they advanced their career with what the market has grown also into. And then execution, we want to see them code, right? We do proctor them, we see them coding, we see them executing on things. And then we ask them other questions of like, talk to me about the last projects that you were successful in, right? Talk to me about projects that you failed in. Why? Why did you fail, right? We believe that people learn a lot more by failing than just always succeeding. So we want to learn about both, right? What did they succeed in and what failures did they have?
Okay, great. So, one thing that I'd like to start, touching on is certainly AI, the theme of the show. And so now that we've understood a little bit more about what you guys do, um, everyone is asking whether, probably this question's popping up into everyone's mind. You guys are placing software developers. There's a huge push right now with AI to start taking over that type of position. What are you guys seeing? What's your take on that specifically?
I think if we don't jump on the AI wagon, you're out of business, honestly. Especially as a staffing company, we realized that from the get go, and as soon as AI became a thing, we decided to create what we call an AI center of excellence. And in the company, we train every engineer heavily on how to use AI the right way, not just by prompting ChatGPT and copy and pasting code, like embed it into the code using Cloud or whatever LLM you want to use, but they know how to use it, integrate it into the environment. We saw it as an opportunity. Why? Because when we, instead of placing two engineers, now we place one and we have the same margin because we were able to mark them up. So we marked them up at a level where now we're seeing even more profit. So just when we went ahead of that curve, we anticipated for it, we prepared well, and now everybody's trained heavily on AI.
Okay. And so what's the most important part that benefits from AI when it comes to development?
Performance speed to like looking at your MVP, right? Or your minimal viable product in there. It's amazing how AI is when you tie AI as a tool with a software engineer that knows what he's doing, performance and speed is increased tremendously, right? Um, yeah, mostly I would say that mostly.
Okay. And so you guys are constantly training these guys on, AI as they're coming into the position, and I'm assuming continuously throughout their time with a business. And so what are you seeing skills that they're going to need to pick up moving forward when it comes to AI?
I, th- I think writing code is no longer a thing. Like AI can write it better than you. We used to Part of our interview process had to do with a lot of solid design principle, how to write clean code, some of that stuff that they're no longer relevant because AI does it out of the box, right? You don't need to ask the developers whether they know how to do that or not. I think the biggest thing down the road will become having that domain knowledge, right? Having an engineer that can interact with the client, that can learn the business needs, that can learn the business needs well and interact well with the LLMs to produce quality code. But thinking about writing lines of code is no longer a thing in our
Yeah.
field.
And I think the management side of like knowing how to coordinate, how to manage multiple AI agents at the same time, right? You need a architect AI agent, you need a developer AI agent, you need a designer, UI UX one, a auditing one, a QA one, and so on, right? So knowing how to manage those AI agents in general is a big skill that we're seeing is very, very important to continue training our developers in. Um, and funny enough, the I don't know if you remember these old diagrams of like what the client envisioned and how he told the project manager what he wanted, what the project manager understood, and what the developer team developed, and the end result, right? Of like a bicycle that was all weird at the end, right? So I think that still applies with AI. You have to know what you want. You need to know how to speak to the AI, um, how to explain to the AI what you really want it to do, right? So um, being able to be very eloquent on how you tell it what you need, what the feature is going to be, what the goal is, what the application's goal at the end is also very important.
Okay. So really the what your guy where your guys would come in, your developers would come in when it comes to utilizing AI is not necessarily writing the code as much as understanding what the client wants and being able to turn that into code using AI and just being able to speak the language. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, and making sure that the code that the AI is writing is safe, right? That it doesn't have any weird. I don't know if you're using credit cards and doing something like Stripe integration that you're not that the AI didn't go rogue and started saving credit cards in your database with no encryption and weird stuff like that, right? Making sure I think some of the latest clients that have come in and approached us, they're like, "Hey, I have this application that I wrote with AI, but I don't know how to host it. I don't know how to deploy it. I don't know if the code on here is kosher or not. Like, is it easy to hack it? Like, can you guys come and audit that?" Right. So, part of what we're training our software engineers on is yes, learn how to understand what the client is requiring. Make that a spec that you can give to the AI. The AI develops it. Don't stop there. Make sure read the code from the AI and make sure um, that's compliant, right? And it gets audited not only by AI but audited by a human that can understand the consequences on there.
So what would you guys recommend to a business owner that's using one of the AI coding platforms that really doesn't know much about coding? Let's just say, like a Lovable or, a platform like that where they're just what they call vibe coding and doing that. Are those I know you brought up the credit card encryption. These are the little things that maybe they're missing that could be very important and damaging to them in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you touched that, Dagen, because part of the service that we also offer to some of our clients is a lot of this C-level executive, they just hear about AI and they want, how do you jump on the wagon, right? Like at what cost? Sometimes they just make radical decisions and go and grab ChatGPT and they start throwing like, username and passwords into the code. We sit down with some of our clients and we actually analyze their business need. We help them diagram their workflow, whatever they do, and we recommend solutions for them. So this is what we do. But then I think which LLM you choose is really irrelevant. To us, Claude is the best when it comes to coding. There are many of them. There are many of them that you can use out there. We love Claude. We train our people with Claude, embed it into their AI, and it produces amazing results. We use ChatGPT for other things, more for content generation and things like that. And this is some of the recommendations that we also give our clients when we sit down. Some of them approach us not only for software developers, they ask it for the engineers, and they also need coaching on how to use them as well. So it's part of our offering. Um,
Okay. Makes sense. Well, guys, we're gonna switch to a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back. Hi, everybody. Dagen here. If you're seeing me talking to you right now, that means that this commercial ad spot is vacant and it's available for your company in your area. It will only show to your area. So please contact us today at dagenmedia.com if you're interested in becoming a sponsor. All right, and we're back to our episode of Executive Intelligence here with Doug and Emilio. Guys, thanks for joining me again. I really appreciate you being on. We had a good first half of the episode there, and now we're going to wrap it up with another half here. I understand that you guys are a remote first company, meaning all of your employees, all of the people working for you are remote. Um, I'm really curious, how do you handle a remote? There may be some people listening that have the old school management style that need to see people in the office. How do you guys manage your employees on a remote basis, and some of them being from other countries?
They gonna and I'll tell you, one of the first projects that we took on, man, it was a really, really large project for a company in Austin, Texas. And when we put together the team, they were from 7 different countries, man, in Latin
Wow.
America. So Emilio and I looked at each other. We were like, I mean, it should follow the same trends and the same techniques that we use to manage, and it'll be okay, right? And actually, I think it worked beautifully, right? But we had people from Mexico, from Ecuador, from Colombia, from Brazil, from the US on the same team. Um, and it really blended really well. I think I think the number one thing, and I'll talk about one, and then we can go one and one, Emilio, on this. But number one is hiring the right people, right? People who have experience working remote is very important. They have to have um, solid values, principles of how do you work remote, how do you focus, and how do you get the work done.
Yeah, I think one thing that helps us a lot, Dagan, because it's not just us. We have a team of over 25 administrators who report directly to us. We're not billable. They're not working with our clients. But we also have the developers out there, and how do we make sure that they're there for our clients, right? A lot of our clients would like to know that they're working, that they're actually doing so. So we train them during the onboarding process. They're trained to reach out to their clients at least 3 times a day or more. Number one is when they show up for Scrum in the morning. Number two is when they go to lunch, they tell the clients, hey, I'm going to lunch. I'm working on this task. I'll be back. I'll continue on this. And then at the end of the day, I know the touch base. Hey, I'm about to wrap it up for the day. I'm done with this task. Tomorrow I'm going to start working with this one. So if you don't see that from engineers, it's hard to know what they're doing. The world has changed, and now the remote work is something that is common. But there's still companies that are struggling with it. We have a couple of clients that had a couple incidents with our developers, and we changed it the way we onboard them now. And everybody has to communicate at least 3 times a day. It's one of the ways we improve that side.
Okay. Would you guys be able to share an example of when it doesn't work out, or when there's an issue between the teams? Is it simply just communication is not there, or the culture doesn't line up, or is it something different?
I would say it's more that the culture just doesn't line up, or they get busy with something else, um, and they're not delivering for the team, right? The good thing, I think the way that we have it set up, everybody has to come to scrums in the morning, also report what they're working on. What did they work on yesterday? What are they working on today? And do they have any blockers? And when you see somebody who's like stuck on the same story and it's a simple story, not us, right? Like the team will call them out and be like, "Hey, man, we need to deliver this. You haven't been able to carry your weight. What's going on?" Right? Um, self Kind of like self management teams, right? Where there's strong teams that work together. When somebody's not working out, they'll call them out. Why? Because everybody has their reputation. Everybody has their deliverables and their work to get done. and because they're dragging one person to try to get stuff done, um, they'll just raise their hand and be like, "Hey, can somebody? We already talked with him. Can somebody talk with him? We think he's not a good fit with the team."
Okay. So when did you guys get started with developers.net?
Oof. September
September 14, 2017.
2017. Yeah.
9 years, almost 9 years and 2 months.
Awesome. Well, so as as leadership of remote team and working with clients that have been, remote, what are some of the leadership lessons that you guys have learned over these years?
Got us off guard there, man, but for a second. Leadership, I mean, it has evolved because we were admitting a team of 20 people 6 years ago. Now we're over 200. So your leadership skills for sure have to evolve. It was easy to manage a team of 20 people, but now that we're 200, we learned a lot of things. And I think one thing that comes to mind is you cannot have favoritism towards specific developers. Why? Because you have way too many of them, and it will become a problem. You need to treat everybody the same way, and you need to lead by example. Like we would never ask our developers to do anything that we wouldn't do. We master the reason and the main reason why we have been able to scale out of the daily operation is because we master the daily operations, and then we scale out of it because we taught somebody else on how to do it. So for me, that's the big one.
Yeah, and I think also one that surprised me is letting people surprise you, right? Like telling them what the expectation of the job is. Hey, you need to help us in this, right? We hired you because in your resume it says you're an expert at this. Not micromanaging them and letting them do their thing and surprise you, right? Like I still remember the day when like Emilio and I we would have our hands in too many pots, right? Still at the company. And then suddenly we started delegating things and letting people surprise us. And then it was like this new client started and two developers were in there. And I'm like, I didn't talk to him. Did you talk with him? I didn't talk with him either. It's like that's when you realize the machine is like working by itself, right? And I think that was a very enlightening moment in there. And I think it's two things: hiring the right people again, right? The right person for the right seat, and letting them, trusting them, and letting them do their thing, and coming out and surprising you.
It took us a couple of years to realize that somebody else can do the job just as good as we used to do it, because we did everything for the first 5 years of the company. We did accounting, HR, recruitment, everything. So it was hard to let go because every time you hear something about what you used to do on the trenches, you immediately thought that it was wrong, and then you want to like review it until you realize that people start proving themselves and showing you that they could deliver. So we started like let go, and it became a well-oiled machine. We're pretty happy what we have running right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. It's always nice to hear from you guys on your perspective of all of that. But one thing, and this may stir some things up between you two, but have you guys being co-founders? Do you ever have disagreements? And if you do, how do you go about solving those?
Very little, very little disagreements, if almost
Yeah,
none.
I don't know.
If you told me right now off of the top of my head, like what was the last disagreement that we had, I probably couldn't pinpoint it. Um, I think because Emilio and I both were software engineers first, right? And we were really good at what we did, really, really, really good at what we did, and then there was trust. Like everything you can see right there behind Emilio, it says "Keep calm." I'm a DBA. That's a database administrator. He's one of the best that I know, so I trusted him a lot on all the database stuff that he did and managed, right? Um, and I'm hoping Emilio trusted me in the same way on the UI and on the back end side of software when we were doing consulting together back in the day. Um, and I think that trust that we had as engineers is the same when we run the company. And when something doesn't seem right, I don't think we disagree. It's more like
We find a
"Mm,
middle. We find a middle ground where we both agree. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I think
I
it's
think
more like yeah,
our
sorry,
biggest disagreement is the fact that he likes the Pixel phones and I like the iPhone. That's always one disagreement that we have. We haven't been able to convince each other to jump to the other side.
Okay.
having said
Well, I guess
that, Emilio did convince me to use a Mac instead of a PC. And
wow. Okay, that's a big jump.
that is a very big jump. It took me like a year. I don't regret it now. It is they just work, man. They just work. Battery lasts
Yeah,
forever. Um,
I'm a Mac guy myself, so that's pretty great to hear there. I'm glad you could do that, Emilio.
Yeah, no, no, seriously, I think we both had partners in the past, and there have been good and bad experiences. I think those has been the smoothest partner I've ever had, just because of the fact that we come from nothing and we have a tremendous work ethic, which I believe is has been like the cornerstone of the relationship. It all started by working hard, and then when we realized that we both work hard, we start believing, we start trusting each other, and we build what we have today.
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna start wrapping this up. This has been a great episode. I appreciate you guys joining me. One thing I like to do at the end of each show is just give our guests a chance to put anything out there. If it's a promotion, if it's an event coming up, if it's words of wisdom, feel free. And you guys could go one at a time, or just one of you chime in, however you'd like to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, for the audience out there, like we are not the typical staffing engineering company. We have amazing rates, half or a third of the US rates, and our talent has as the same quality as people here in the US. So if you ever need software engineers, feel free to reach out. We have the best of the best. We also have an amazing referral program. So if you run into any friend or any colleague who's looking for software engineers, we pay $5,000 for every referral, for every successful referral, which is better than pretty much everything you see out there.
I like to say it's better than Tesla, man. When they had it
Better
in
than
their app that
Tesla's.
they would give you $100 and then it was like $500 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We give you $5,000. Um, that yeah, that. And I think adding to what Emilio mentioned, um, you can also try as risk free, right? Risk free guarantee. We're so sure of the software talent, the software engineers that we find out there that um, come give us a try, use the developer for a month. And we're sure that you're going to fall in love with him and you're going to continue using us and using that developer, right? So, risk free guarantee. If it doesn't work out, you don't have to pay us.
That's a great deal. Yeah. So if anyone is interested in looking you guys up, trying to find you online, where can they do so?
Yeah, through our website or our LinkedIn's. You can ping us directly on LinkedIn, or our website. You can fill in the form there, and I promise you will get to us in a very short period of time.
And the
Great.
website is the same as the company name, is developers.net. That's simple.
Developers.net, right there.
Perfect. Pretty easy to remember, right? So that's great. We also add that down in the description under the video here. So if anyone is watching and wants to get in touch with you guys with your LinkedIn's or directly to your website, we will have that information below. So once again, really appreciate you guys. We've known each other for a while now, and it's great to see you guys again and talk to you guys. And I appreciate you coming on the show.
Great
Thanks
to
for
see you
having us,
there.
Dagen.
Thanks for inviting us.
All right. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Executive Intelligence. We'll see you guys next time. Hi, everybody. Dagen here. If you're seeing me talking to you right now, that means that this commercial ad spot is vacant and it's available for your company in your area. It will only show to your area. So please contact us today at dagenmedia.com if you're interested in becoming a sponsor.